How many of us have done that? I have. Today I want to talk about digitizing and commodifying the Christian faith. Welcome to Community Church of Ephrata update, Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. Well, we had a good week. We tried, and I think it was good, a parking lot drive-in service where we stayed in our cars. And it was a bit different. I got to preach from a farmer's flatbed and looked out on the cars instead of faces. But I did get to see faces and wave hello and goodbye to many in our congregation who came out for our drive-in service. This Sunday, we will not be doing a drive-in service, but we will do one again soon. We are needing to rest our tech team, who have been pushing really hard over the last several weeks. Justin and Tristan and Christopher and Steve and others have been working extremely hard, and they did a double duty last Sunday. We both did a drive-in service and a live stream on Facebook, and it was just a lot of work. So we're going to rest for a week, and we're going to go back to a live stream only, and that will be at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live. So back to the idea of digitizing the faith and commodifying the faith. You know, I used to be one pastor among many in a church before I came here, and it was a great church. And it was, I would say, were good at many, many things. And we had a lot of programs, we had a lot of people, there was a large budget. It was an exciting place to be. A lot of things were done in very high quality. And I remember it was my first pastor gig, and I kind of had this question of like, do we do anything other than just provide religious services? Is that what we are, a religious services provider? The setting was a white collar setting. It was a lot of service sector people who worked in the area and came to church, and it sort of felt like we were a religious services provider. People come with their burdens, they come with their sorrows, and they come with their children, and they drop them off and receive a service. And if we're not careful, it's easy to think about the church attender like a customer and the content like a commodity, and I think that's dangerous. And I've noticed even producing online content during this COVID-19, the way people interact with the content, it's different than just coming to church, isn't it? You can pause, you can mute, you can walk away, you can come back to it later, you can fall asleep and no one knows, and maybe that's great news. I know that it is a blessing, and it's certainly okay if you're shut in or you can't deal with it in the morning, you want to stay in your jammies and you don't want to travel. I mean, that's fine. You know, that's great. But the Christian faith cannot only be digitized. It has to be embodied. And there's something about kind of digitizing content. And people have said, more content, please, content. And it reminded me of a conversation I had today with a friend. And this was the idea. Church on demand. Like, should we be a church on demand? Like, provide content that I can have on demand. Church on demand, ? And then politely I want to say, no. Church is not a building. It's not just a service. It's a living organism, not just an organization. It's an organism. It's a living, breathing thing. The epistle of Peter says that we're being built into like a living house made with living stones to be a holy priesthood, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, to offer sacrifices of praise to God. And so it's like we're not the one in control. He's the one in control. It's not our words and what we want and that we want to be tickled in a certain way. It's that God is speaking to us through his word and revealing his grace through his people. They help each other, equip, challenge, pray for each other. And ideally, this happens in person. It can't always. And so we understand that online is necessary for a time, and we're going to continue with online even when we get back to normal. But I just want to encourage all of us and remind us that Jesus came in the flesh as a little baby. Why? He came in the flesh to live out all of human existence just like us, in the flesh. He suffered in the flesh. He knows what pain is. He knows what betrayal is. He lived through it. He got hot and sweaty. He got tired. He learned how to do things. He might have struck his thumb with a hammer. He learned how to do carpentry in his father's shop. He was killed on the cross in the flesh, and he rose from the dead in the flesh. And when he left the earth, he told the church, I am going to send my spirit with you to be with you, and you're not going to be alone. You're going to have encouragement. You're going to have guidance into truth. You're going to have the power necessary to complete the mission of the gospel in terms of preaching it throughout the whole world. And Jesus says, I'm with you. And throughout the New Testament, it talks about the church as a body, a living, breathing body. So the church then is supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so it's not just above the shoulders. It's not like a virtual reality, a VR mask that we put on and do Christianity. It's like actually we kind of take off the goggles and we see who's in front of us and what is in front of us. And these days that's limited. It might just be your family or maybe your neighbors, maybe just your dog. But it is critical that we learn how to embody the faith. We don't just download content. We don't demand content. We share grace through human hands, through human speech. We share grace with one another in person. And grace always comes through human hands. God designed it that way. He set it up that way. He wants to gather a family to himself physically. That's the picture. And the gathering of the church is a little bit of that, like a down payment, or really like a little slice of heaven before we get there. And so gathering digitally is valid and it's good up to a point, but it can never replace the flesh and blood embodiment of the gospel in flesh. So if you're shut in, that's hard, and I'm glad that the digital content is reaching you. I hope that you have someone to visit you, and that's important even if you're ill. Having a family member, hearing their voice live and in person at least, is good. And if you're a Christian out there who is saying, hey, digital is my first step, that's fine too. And ultimately, it would be good to connect in person with other Christian friends and gather in a worship setting in the flesh. That is what the Bible means when it says gather in his name. It doesn't know the world of digital content. The Bible was written in the ancient world. So when it says gather, it means gather. Let us not give it up. So this COVID time is causing all of this thought and these questions to kind of circle through my head. I don't know about you. And so while we have these constraints, we will use the tools necessary. And we'll continue to use them because they're effective as introducing us to a wider community and so forth. But it can never replace the glorious gift that God gives us every Sunday of Christian fellowship, of the embodiment of the Word of God in one another. It's just so critical for our health and development, and it's essential to Christianity in general. Okay, well, that's my theological reflection, and let's not be consumers, let's be doers of the faith, says the book of James. So God bless you, and I hope you have a great week. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.